My ex-best friend attempted to take her life after I caught her fooling around with my boyfriend, and I couldn't care less. I haven't reached out. She slept with my boyfriend behind my back. We're both 20F, and we've been friends since reception, 4 to 5 years old, UK thing. She was my sister, my rock, and we stood by each other through everything. When my parents divorced, she was there to offer a shoulder for me to cry on. When her grandmother died, I was there keeping her afloat throughout high school. I'd been dating my boyfriend, 21M, for about 3 years. We started dating in sixth form, a version of UK college, and he was my first serious relationship. I introduced him to my family. He was many of my firsts. He was sweet, a little awkward being a gamer guy, but he treated me to date nights and always made me feel special. Maybe this is me being young and dumb, but I thought I'd marry this guy someday. This was something I told my best friend. Well, about a month ago while my boyfriend was in the shower, I saw a text notification pop up on his phone. We look at each other's notifications all the time, so I grabbed his phone to see it. It was from her, asking if they were still on for tonight and if she should wear his favorite dress. He told me he was hanging out with friends and going drinking. Him going drinking with friends wasn't unusual, so I never thought anything of it, but in hindsight I wonder how much of him going out was with friends and how much of it was going out with her. I saved screenshots of their conversations. I sent them to myself. I show him the messages when he came out of the bathroom and demanded he explained himself about them. I couldn't contain how upset and angry and hurt I was. An argument ensued where I told him he was disgusting and I left his place. Shortly after arriving home, I started getting bombarded with calls and texts from my best friend. I answered none of her calls. I couldn't stomach hearing her voice, but her texts ranged from, "She never meant to hurt me. My boyfriend hit on her first. It didn't mean anything." Then it got angry, saying I should hear her out. If I was a real friend, I would take her calls. I'm being petty and childish for not listening to her side. Then back to sad, saying I was her closest friend in the world and she didn't want to lose me. My boyfriend was strangely quiet during this time. After a few days I got myself together enough to send them both messages. Maybe it was cowardly, but I didn't have the strength to call them. I told my now ex-boyfriend that we were done and I won't give cheaters any chances with me. He responded by trying to call me, but after the third or fourth attempt, he gave up. He sent me a final message saying it wasn't that big of a deal, that they just fooled around, but agreeing he didn't want to date me anymore. My ex-best friend was more persistent after I told her I wanted nothing to do with her. Day after day I'd get messages and calls from her, demanding to talk, demanding we resolve this, demanding I not say anything to anyone, saying she stopped seeing him, saying she'll unalive herself if I don't talk to her. Really messed up crap. I ended up confiding to a mutual friend about what was going on because I was seriously beginning to wonder if I was being a jerk. This friend reassured me that my feelings were justified. However, I wasn't expecting this friend to spread around what happened. The gossip spread like wildfire, and a few days ago my ex-best friend tried to take her life. I said nothing. I haven't visited her in the hospital. I haven't sent any messages to her family. Now her older sister keeps messaging me, telling me I'm a heartless bitch for leaving her at her lowest, for not trying to prevent this, and that everyone makes mistakes, and that her sister didn't intentionally hurt me. Maybe it does make me a heartless bitch, but I don't care. I'm relieved she survived, but I'll never forgive her. I'll never forgive her betrayal. She destroyed our friendship when she slept with my boyfriend. Update, 1 month later, hey again. It's been a while. First I want to thank everyone for all of their comments and support. In hindsight, I know now I wasn't being a bitch, but in the moment when I was being bombarded by texts and calls from her family, it's hard not to let those thoughts mess with your head. I didn't know if I was going to post an update, but some things have happened, so this might get a little long. Sorry. Giving fake names. Ex-BFF is Nikki. Her older sister is Tammy. My ex-boyfriend is Josh. I'll name anyone relevant as I go. So I mentioned in a comment that my mom wanted to speak to me later that day. I had a few replies warning me that she would try to pressure me into forgiving Nikki, and they were right. She came over to my dad's that evening and wanted a conversation in private. She asked if I'd spoken to Nikki yet. I said no. She asked if I was going to. I said no. I was trying to be as firm as possible because I knew what she was about to do. She asked, "Don't you think you should?" My response was, "No. I don't see why I should." I sent her a final message almost a month ago. This is where things began to really go south in the conversation. "Mum, love, she's in the hospital right now. She needs all the support she can get. You're meant to be her friend." I didn't even know about her condition until her mother called me. Really? I'm meant to be her friend after she slept with Josh behind my back? I didn't say anything about her because I didn't want to talk about her. "Mum, are you really going on about a silly grudge? I understand she hurt you, but she's hurting so much more right now, love." She's hurting? "Mum, yes, you both are. I raised you to be a kind, forgiving person. Why can't you forgive her?" "Me, what? Like how Dad should have forgiven you?" This wasn't my finest moment. I didn't bring it up before because it wasn't relevant, but the reason why my parents' divorce was due to infidelity on Mum's end. And it wasn't only a one-time thing, not that it matters even if it had been, but my mum always believed Dad should have just forgiven her. I admit this was a low blow for me, and the conversation spiraled into an argument from there, with both of us saying some not-so-kind things to each other. Eventually, I decided the conversation was over because we were just going around in circles and heading into yelling territory, so I told her to leave and I'll try talking to her again when we've both calmed down. When she was leaving, she said this: "I hope you're not as cruel as your father." I'm typically not an angry person, but this infuriated and hurt me. I lived 50-50 between my parents. They both made sure I had everything I could need or want, but she felt her situation and struggles were undeserved. Dad never helped with bills or payments that didn't involve me. She expected more. Cheaters always do. I didn't say anything when she left, I just blocked her number and social media accounts and cried. She cared more about the girl who had hurt her daughter than said daughter. She realized pretty quick what had happened and came back the next day, but Dad told her I didn't want to talk to her, true, and she had to leave. It took maybe half an hour before she finally left. The new few days she kept trying to reach me through other people, but I stayed silent. The Friday after my post, I decided I felt calm enough to talk to her and unblocked her. We spoke over the phone, which wasn't as exciting as above. Basically, it was her apologizing and telling me she was wrong for trying to force me to forgive Nikki, that she'll respect my decision but tried to suggest I think about it. I very firmly told her I was not forgiving Nikki. She just said okay. Things didn't really feel the same with us. I couldn't bring myself to be as chatty with her as I was before, and it didn't help that she kept giving me updates about Nikki. The first time she did it, she told me Nikki had been put on a 72-hour psych hold, assessed and eventually released. I told her I didn't want any updates on Nikki's situation. I won't stop her from checking in, but I didn't want to be involved. She complained and said she thought I'd want to visit her, but I threatened to block her again if she kept pushing, and she shut up. Nothing was mentioned about Nikki for a couple of weeks before Mom again broke my boundary and brought her up, telling me about how Josh had stopped talking to her and how Nikki needed a shoulder to cry on. I again told her I didn't want to know and this was her last chance not to bring her up or I would cut her from my life for good. She complained again but eventually promised it wouldn't happen again. Maybe I should have learned from my mistakes because I know my mother. She doesn't take no for an answer. It was really quiet for a while. My friends and I had all basically carried on from what happened, and even though I know a couple of them still occasionally talk to Nikki, they never bring her up around me or tell her how I'm doing, I hope. I thought I could finally close this chapter on my life, but nope. Today my mother called me and asked if I wanted to get lunch. I hadn't seen her in a while, so what was the harm? I head to the Weatherspoons we planned to eat at, and who do I find sitting with my mom? Mickey and her sister Tammy. As soon as Nikki sees me, she gets up and tries to hug me, but I just raise a hand and take a step back, and this girl has the audacity to look upset. Mom immediately knows she's messed up because she's scrambling with all of the excuses. "It hurts to see you two fall apart like this, you were so close. I thought you'd forgive her by now. And my favorite, she made a mistake, she misses you." During this time, Nikki has been quiet and I can see Tammy's glaring at me. I'm just so freaking angry and upset. I honestly didn't think she'd pull something like this. I wanted to leave and cry, but I looked at Nikki and said, for someone who's made a mistake, she sure hasn't apologized for it yet. She had this guilty look on her face and muttered something about me having her blocked and having no way to. I said, "Is that really all you have to say?" And she just looked at me confused. I was done. I turned to leave and her sister started yelling after me, saying that I owed Nikki a second chance with all the trauma I put her through, while Nikki was begging me to just listen to her and talk to her. I told them all to F off and never contact me again and left. I managed to get out of there before Tammy started a fight and went home, where I sent my mom a text a while ago telling her she'd better lose my number because she no longer has a spot in my life. Then I blocked her and just cried. My dad's been doing his best to comfort me, but it just hurts so bad that my own mother did this to me. So that's where things are at right now. I'll update if anything else happens, but this whole situation really freaking sucks. New update, 16 months later. Hey there, everyone. I'm the girl who made the my ex-best friend attempted to take her life posts. I didn't think labeling this post like that really fit. I first want to apologize for taking so long to give you an update and to also thank you for your kind words. I've not been able to reply to many messages, and I've had a lot, but I've taken the time to read through every single one. I appreciate every single one of you. This Christmas has been amazing. I spent it with my family, with my dad. I went out Boxing Day night with my friends to party hard and regretted harder the following day. I'm in a much better place than I was back in December 2023. That's kind of why I struggled to give you all an update, because around Christmas and New Year's of 2023 I was not in a good place. I really needed to focus on myself and work on getting myself in a better place. As of January 2024, I have been no contact with my mother. Unfortunately, I've seen her since then, and I've done my best to avoid talking to her on the 3 occasions I've had to be in the same place as her. Not out of choice, mind you, but it is what it is. During Christmas 2023, she had expected that I was spending it with her and her side of the family. Given the events at that time, this was obviously not happening, and my dad told her as much. She lost her mind. She refused to take no as an answer leading up to Christmas. To the point Dad and I left for my paternal aunt's house on Christmas Eve to spend the night there. According to a neighbor, my birth giver showed up pretty early in the morning to catch us leaving, but was irate to learn we already weren't there. Thankfully, my aunt had moved house quite recently, so my mother didn't know the new address. But we came home to parcels completely destroyed on our porch the following Boxing Day. There was even a Christmas card labeled to me, but inside was a horrible letter from my mother, describing me as the worst daughter on the planet. That honestly destroyed me, and I spent New Year's a mess. It's difficult cutting off your own mother. I spent half of January of 2024 trying to fix things with her, but it came to a head when I realized I was the only one forced to compromise. I finally cut off contact, and it's been that way since. There's been more between then and now, but I think those are incidents I'll post on my Reddit page or in the comments of this post to prevent it from getting too long. In terms of Nikki, I've heard she's doing better. We've not spoken since my mother's lunch escapade, but she's found a job and, according to a mutual friend, found a new circle. Despite everything that she's put me through, I'm happy for her. It's almost 2 a.m. here in the UK, so if I suddenly stop responding to comments, I've fallen asleep.